When something goes wrong in your business, there's one question that you have to ask that will actually give you power moving forward. And that question is, how was this my fault? Hello, everybody. This is Joe Justice with the Kanawha Valley Hustler Podcast. The Kanawha Valley Hustler Podcast is focused on bringing a strong business development and entrepreneurial spirit to the entire Kanawha Valley region and out into the greater Southern Appalachia region in the area that I grew up in. And I want to give business owners, entrepreneurs, and business executives some tools that you can actually use to achieve success, especially as we're moving into 2026. And hopefully this information can help solve some of those problems for you. And this one is going to be one of those tough love episodes where I'm going to talk to you frankly, and I know I'm going to get pulled to the side at events, and people are going to say, hey, that was a little rough what you were saying there, but I'm doing it out of love in my heart to help you out with achieving your goals in the long run. In this scenario is taking on what is basically a stoic approach to things that go wrong in your business. And to understand that, you have to understand what the stoic approach is. The stoic approach is the idea that you cannot control what other people do. You can't control external things. You have no control. Actually, you have no control on almost anything. But what you do have control of is your reaction to things. You can control your own emotions and your own activities, and then you can improve your life by planning and prepping and reacting not to the things that are happening, but preparing and then accepting things as they are and operating in a way that will actually get you results. Let's take a look at the example of like if it rains. If you do outdoor work, you do a lot of work outdoors, and you save some money ahead of time for whenever there's a big rain. You might call that a rainy day fund. You've probably heard of that. It's such a common thing that there's actually a term for it. Let's save this for a rainy day. Let's do this for a rainy day. Now, what you could do when it rains, if you've got a tight deadline, you've got a lot of work to do, you got, your bills are tight. What you could do is rant and rave when it rains, and you can scream at the sky and you can go wild and yell and scream and curse God and everything else. Will that solve any of your problems? Will that make the rain stop? Will that do anything? No. And that's why that's not the stoic approach to that kind of thing. The stoic approach is to, okay, this has happened. Now what can we do about it? And that's where this idea of how is this my fault comes into play. Now, this isn't about beating yourself up, and it's not about, calling yourself a terrible person. It's not about, kicking yourself when you're down. You're not doing that. You're taking responsibility. You're genuinely asking, how is this my fault? How can I improve this next time? So let's imagine that you have got a job and you've got an employee that messed something up, maybe made a mistake somewhere, and you get a call from the client. The client says, hey, this is all messed up. Hey, so real quick, if you're looking to get more attention on your business and wondering how people are doing that today using digital video, you can drop me a text and I'll be happy to kind of answer any of your questions. I usually go through those texts once a day or so as people send them to me and see if I can help them out with moving forward on things. So just shoot me a text at 304-853-5522. Should be right here on the screen, and I'll be happy to help you out with moving forward, getting a little bit more attention on what you do and growing your business in 2026. Your client is screaming and yelling. Your client's right, your employee. This isn't a situation where the client's, lying and saying, they just want stuff for free. Your employee genuinely messed up, made a mistake, and now your client's angry and yelling and screaming. So how do you respond to that? Well, let me ask you this. If you respond with yelling and screaming back and cursing back, do you think that client's going to hire you for another job? Is that client going to call up their friends and tell you how great and wonderful you are? Absolutely not. You might have already lost that job anyways, but you've got zero chance if you start screaming and yelling right back. Instead, what if you square yourself up in the mirror, eye to eye, and ask yourself, how was this my fault? Now, this is the part where I hear a bunch of you already yelling and screaming. Well, my employee messed up. It's not my fault. well, they should have done this and they should have done that. I've had that happen before. It drives me crazy. They did this, they did that. It's not my fault. There's nothing I can do about it. I've shown them 100 times. They don't listen. Nobody listens, and everybody's lazy, and they don't have work ethic, and kids these days. Now, with all of that, anything that I just spouted out, did that solve any problems? Of course it didn't. But what if you take this opportunity to go to your employee and see what it is that happened? Why did things go wrong? Why did things mess up? Let me give you 4 areas that you can zero in on to see what you can do next time to improve things so that this type of thing doesn't happen again. The 4 areas are clarity, communication, constraints, and capabilities. It's time to go talk to your employee. It's time for you to be honest, and it's time for you to look them in the eye and accept the feedback, not fight them, not argue with them, not try to tell them, well, you weren't supposed to do this, you weren't supposed to do that. Ask them, talk to them, see what's going on. First off is communication. Did you communicate the job properly? Of course I did. Of course I did. Yeah, did you? This happens all the time. People think that they're being clear. Then what you have to ask somebody is, what did you think I wanted you to do? Or when I said X, Y, and Z, what did you think I meant by that? Or what did you hear when I told you to do this? And if you're honest and you open up an opportunity where people can be honest with you in your work culture, you'll be shocked sometimes because you will say things that you think are totally obvious, but their interpretation of it is like completely different. Now, if you generate a culture of fear where they don't want to be honest with you, the mistake's going to keep on happening. You're going to keep on being unclear, and they're going to keep on saying, yeah, boss, got you, boss. And in the meantime, they're on Indeed every day at home as soon as they get off work trying to find a new job. Was it communication? Maybe they ran into a problem. They didn't have the ability to get in touch with you and tell you what constraints they were running into or what to do next, or they weren't really sure how to get in touch with you to move forward. You got to solve that problem too. Was it a constraint? Were they missing a tool? Were they missing material? Is there something? And then you're going to say, well, I could have done that job with that material. I could have done that job with those tools. Well, maybe they don't have the same skill yet. You've got to figure out through that clarification process where they're at, what they're capable of, and you can't just jump them forward. If they've only been doing it for a few years and you've been doing it for 10 years, there's going to be a wild difference in skill set. And you need to accept that, not just say, well, they said they could do the job, so they should be able to do it. You've got to figure these things out. You've got to work through it with your employees, or you're never going to solve these problems. If you don't take the responsibility for it, you're just going to repeat these problems again and again and again. And then there's capability. You got to be honest. Is this person that you selected, are they capable of doing this job? Well, they should be. Should is not something that exists in kind of the stoic mindset. Are they capable? That's the question. If the answer is no, that's your fault for putting them in a situation where they are incapable of doing it. Well, for as much as I'm paying them, they should be able to. Again, that's a should. It's not reality, okay? You need to drop the should. At the end of all of this, you need to take your ego out of it. You need to approach the situation with humility, and you need to ask that simple question: how is this my fault? Go through that process, figure out how to own it so that you can correct it moving forward, and you will have a much more successful time, especially if you're in a situation where you're working with other human beings. And let's be honest, 9 times out of 10, you're working with other human beings. So make sure that you can solve these problems with that simple question, and you're going to have a great year in 2026. As long as you do the work and make it happen. This is Joe Justice, the Kanawha Valley Hustler, reminding you to hustle hard, hustle smart, and hustle with a smile.